Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Seize Your Business. Today our topic is using events to promote your business. Our guest today is Lisa Hughes from Ruffled Feathers Golf Course in Lamont. I've played the course. It's a beautiful course. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Lisa brought us some donuts today, so we're excited to have you here.
My co-host is, she brought donuts. This has been the best ever. My co-host, Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law.
Hi, everybody.
Of course, Jim from Success Enhancement. So, Lisa, tell us a little bit about, what you do at Ruffled Feathers. I know you're the marketing
Sure,
person
absolutely.
there.
So I have been, I've been there almost 8 years, and what my job there is to confirm and book golf events. So we host about 120 golf outings throughout the golf season. Sometimes there's a few in a day. Sometimes we don't have any, but the goal is to really book business and sales. So, and over the years, I've just kind of been the contact for the marketing. I think it's just, I believe in marketing. I think it's, squeaky wheel gets the...
Sure.
So I think, it's important to be out. People know that you're there, because if they don't hear you constantly, then they kind of forget about you and they'll go to your competitor. So I get involved a lot in the marketing and
So marketing golf outings, it seems to me like one of the challenges would be, how do you know who's having an outing?
Absolutely. I get that question a lot, actually. Like, how do you...
Companies, they need bookkeeping, they need internet, they need a lawyer,
You're
but
absolutely
how do
right.
you know who needs an outing? It could be anybody.
You're absolutely right. So a lot of people ask, because a lot of my job is, going out and finding business. It's not necessarily banging down our door. And you all know there's a lot of golf courses in the Chicago area for such a short season. However, not all accommodate outings. You have to have the banquet space available. You have to, it's something that either the business you go after or you don't. So there's different types of outings. So of course, most non-for-profits have outings because they're trying to raise funds. So finding them, over the years, they ask for donations, and it's a way to kind of find out who's having the events and who isn't. Corporate's starting to make a comeback, which is great. We all love to see that. So when corporate has events, they're inviting their customers out, or their vendors, or both, and that's really to build the relationships. I mean, if you're on a golf course with somebody for 4.5 hours, you get to know them pretty well, their family, their business. You really build a relationship. So golf outings are, especially for corporate, are all marketing. It's the same thing when they do an employee event. I mean, you really get to know your coworkers and build that bond when you're playing a game together.
So I could use events to not only build a relationship with my customers, I could do it to do sort of like team building with my
Absolutely.
employees
And vendors.
well. And vendors.
We work with a lot of construction companies that have it for their subcontractors. They're working with them constantly. And if you have a relationship, business is all about relationship. People are more willing to work and help and give you more if they have a relationship with you. I mean, everybody wants to buy from people they know, who they're comfortable with. So it's a great tool to do that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that before we started recording, you mentioned that you hold some events on how to have a successful golf
We do, yes.
to kind of market your golf course.
So one of my biggest, I would say, vendors, subcontractors, his name is Mike Tate. He owns SMT Golf Events, and over the years, Mike has just really become a friend. I mean, you build a lot of business together. You work with the same customers. He's driven a lot of business to me, and I hope I've given him some. But what Mike does is he works with corporate outings, not-for-profits, anybody, and how to find sponsorship, how to make it entertaining, how to make it memorable, things like that. So one of the big things that he has that's the most popular, and there's so many things, but he has like a golf gun that shoots the golf ball in a hole, and people love it. I mean, to me, I'm like, but it's all entertainment, and then you can raise funds at that hole to be able to shoot the golf ball launcher, and so what Mike does is he with his close golf courses that he has relationships with, he will have a seminar where we host it. We take care of the lunch. It's a complimentary lunch, and it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and he goes through all these things. Now we have people in there that have never had an outing. We have people that have 120 people and they want 220. I mean, it all depends on that, but it also gets everybody in a room together that they can shoot ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
So people walk away, and for what benefits the club is, one, we look like we are the experts in golf events, which we want to be, and two, I might get somebody in there that's never actually walked into the club and doesn't know of ruffle feathers, doesn't. So those both ways they benefit us. So it makes sense.
Well, I was going to make a comment. You mentioned you've got this gun that shoots the golf ball.
Yes.
You may want to show that to Kevin, because I've seen him with a golf ball, and believe me, this has got to be easier.
Have you two played golf together? Or is that?
We have a couple times.
Jim wouldn't call it playing golf.
I golfed, but he kind of went out there.
I'm retired from golf. I got tired of being terrible in front of people, but I like to go to golf events and just drive around in a golf cart and drink and hang out with my friends.
Right, exactly.
Well, actually, that leads me to a question, though. So let's say I'm thinking I want to have a golf event for whatever, but I know there's some people who maybe either aren't golfers or are uncomfortable about it. I mean, what do we do to accommodate them?
Absolutely. So what you want to do to attract them is, in an outing especially, there's all levels of golfers. You have some golfers that literally they only play that one time of the year. Mm-hmm. So, the golf course has to be able to, how does it make it flow better? So, they play like a scramble format, which is, everybody hits off the tee box and then you go from whoever hit the best shot. It really kind of moves the pace of play along, so it isn't, you're not out there all day long. And for those that don't golf a lot, it kind of evens the playing field a little bit, and they feel more comfortable with that.
Right.
Because if it were me, it would par 3 would take like 11 shots, and I'm not even sure at 11 shots. So it would be miserable. So there's different ways. And one of the other things that we do is that, like we use the front tees and we do, bogey maximum, because if you can't get in the hole after you pick the ball up and move on, we don't want you. We don't want the pace of play to stop. We want you to enjoy the round. So there's different things like that. But you can, in golf outings like that golf ball launcher, I mean, they do so many different games. But like when I first met Mike, he was on our hole 10 and he was doing playing blackjack. I love blackjack. Now all the proceeds go to the not-for-profit. It's not like it's or they win like a raffle ticket or something like that. But when you're standing at the hole and you're waiting, it's just a different form of entertainment to get them involved.
Sure.
Now there are outings where they're very serious golfers, and those are fine. Those people that do attend. They're there for the golf.
Yeah. So. I'm an avid golfer, and I actually created a program called Business Golf for the Non-Golfer, to help people be comfortable who aren't really golfers. I love that. And make it very easy, and a couple of modifications to
one of the other great ideas I've seen events do, especially like corporate, like law firms, what they do is they have a clinic before the outing. Mm-hmm. So you get a golf pro out there. They show you how to hold the basics to, just so you feel comfortable holding the club and the rules of the sport.
Right.
I mean, when I first started, I didn't know anything about golf, and, you don't want to interrupt anybody's game, how to be respectful, how to take care of the course. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, you replace your divots and the whole thing. So there's different ways to do that. If you're thinking about doing a golf event, I ask a lot of questions.
So it's really you make it kind of like a fun event that happens to take place on a beautiful.
Well, the great thing about golf, as opposed to everything else, is, and I forget this till I get out there, but once you're out on the course, the birds are chirping, it's peaceful, and all I can think about is, why am I sitting at that desk making phone calls? I should be up here.
Right.
It's just stunning. It's gorgeous to be. It's beautiful to be out there.
Yeah.
You forget that until you get out there, but that's probably one of the things you love.
No, I love it, and when it's not too crowded, and you're kind of there alone, and if it's a course that's not, too near civilization, in fact, I was at one course once, and it's in literally the middle of farms.
What was the name?
Mini Moness. out in
Are you
Grant
kidding?
Park.
I grew up in Beecher.
Really?
So
Well,
my
you're right down
brother-in-law,
the
I have to
street.
tell you
Yes,
this, my brother-in-law,
yes.
God rest his soul, he passed away in 2012, and he played there literally almost every day after work. Because my sister, they live like down, it's the country, you're in the middle of nowhere. So when he passed away, my nephew, his son, made a bench. I bought the placard.
Okay.
It has his name on there. And
Really?
my brother-in-law would always say, thanks for playing. So it says, Rich O'Brien, thanks for playing. And
Beautiful.
the bench is on like the 18th hole.
Yeah.
And that's where they spread his ashes too.
Beautiful.
I mean, he loved golf.
Well, and that course in particular, it's sometimes you're out there, it's almost like eerie.
Yes.
How quiet, you know, you're
It
used
is,
to all
'cause you
this
are-
stimulation.
So you guys can continue your golf podcast. And
Yeah, right.
Sorry,
Changes to the golf
I apologize.
podcast.
Pivot back to events here. So
Okay.
when you're throwing your event on how to throw a good golf outing, how do you get people in the seats? How do you attract people?
I always find a free lunch. I love free lunch, so it works out. But it, so
Is it
we
direct
offer
mailers that you use?
Well, we have such a long list of people. I mean, just over the years, your database grows and grows.
Email
and grows.
blast.
Email blast, word of mouth. Mike's list. I mean, Mike has been doing. He has a list of thousands of names over the years because he works with over like 200 golf events here in the Chicago area. He's got teams of people that go out and do this. So he just has a very, very long list. And so, I mean, that's how we.
You know, I do a lot of event marketing myself, and one thing I found is that if you have a good email list, a good social media presence, and you get a reputation for throwing a decent event, you blast it out and people will come to it, and you always have good turnout. And there's a lot of reasons to do event marketing. One of them is just an excuse to stay in touch with your list and stay in front of people. It's much. I've
Keep
talked
your
about this
relationship.
before, but it's much less invasive to send someone an email inviting them to an event than it is to send them your newsletter.
Absolutely.
And just being there at the event allows you to, be the host, have extra cachet, and stay in front of the people you need to stay in front of. So when they think, hey, I need to do a golf outing, they'll remember they've gotten your emails.
They'll say, well, I've been to Ruffled, or I've seen Lisa's name, or I've seen Ruffled. Absolutely.
And they'll have that relationship with you already.
Right, exactly. So I have to tell you, before I worked at Ruffled, I worked for a company called Concierge Preferred. It's a visitors magazine in the city, and advertising sales very difficult. I loved it though. I mean, it was a lot of fun. The city, it was networking. You could go to an event every night. But one of the great things that they did for their advertisers, and we're talking advertisers from Gene and Georgetti's, which has been around forever, to Water Tower Place, which is a big corporate, but every month they hosted an event at one of the advertisers for all the concierges and all of their advertisers. So, and they're great. I mean, it's cocktails and hors d'oeuvres, and you walk into the venue, and your advertisers are meeting the concierges are in your space. That is event marketing at its finest, because you're really just every month building these relationships. So
there's a question I want to ask you about, because I think there's probably a lot of groups out there who, have maybe kind of thought about an outing for their, their members, their constituents, their vendors, whatever. But they, oh man, that's like so much work. But you guys pretty much handle all the.
Yes.
You make it sort of a turnkey solution, right?
You need to, because it is intimidating. And honestly, I tell people, you have to find a club that'll work with you and your numbers, because anytime someone's doing a first outing, they're like, well, we don't know. We might have 72. We might have 144. It's my book. I handle the book, so I know. I would say to them, well, let's contract for this. Let's talk 30 days out. I won't book other groups. We'll fill the tissue. It's just really working with them to help them be successful. And so they find that after the first year, anytime you do it the first time, it gets easier, because you're like, okay, that worked, that didn't work, and that type of thing. But yes.
What are some don'ts for throwing an event? I'll ask you some do's too, but I want to hear some of the things that, obviously the worst thing that can happen is you throw this event and 5 people show up. And
that's true.
That's something that's always a fear in the back of my mind when I'm throwing an event. But what have you seen people do wrong, or what have you done wrong in the past that you've learned from?
Well, I think myself, early in my career when I used to work in hotels, I remember throwing an event and not having enough space. But that's not good, because people, not having enough food, you have to be able to be prepared for it. And the first time you do the event, you might lose money if you don't know how many are coming, and you have to build that. You probably built a whole following of people that are looking for it.
Sure.
I mean, so being prepared, there's always going to be something that goes wrong. Like that's just life. That's just how it is. But the more prepared that you are, and the more organized, obviously, the better the event is going to go, and everybody's going to have a good experience. I think I'm a hostess in my heart, like even at home. So I love it. I love seeing people happy and walking out. And at the end of a golf outing, they're happy. Even if they didn't have a good game, they're happy. So it's just just trying to think and talk to people. Use your vendors. Ask them questions. What have you seen? What doesn't work? We have some new outings that say we're going to play golf, and then we're going to have a cocktail hour, and then we're going to have the dinner. Well, I want you to have a cocktail hour, but now we're talking about a very, very long day. People, by the end, they want to eat, they want their prizes, they want to, network, and they got to go home. Everybody's got families and jobs and just things to do. So you don't want to make it so long that it's.
That's a mistake I've made in the past, and I do an event every week basically, and I try out different things. I've done happy hours, I've done networking coffees in the morning, I've done poker nights. But one of the bigger mistakes I've made is trying to catch, for a happy hour, let's say I want to catch the people that want to be there at 3 and the people that want to cut out after work at 6. So I've got this 3-hour event.
Right.
But I might have 30 people come through the event, but there's only 10 at any given time, so it kind of feels like a dud when there's a small room full of people because people are filtering in and out.
Sure.
So compacting the time of the event to get, if you've got a smaller crowd, get them all there at the same time is something that I've learned.
Keep it short and sweet.
Yeah. And try a couple
and
things.
Try different things, different times to find out what's working for you and the people you're trying to attract.
And I know when I've gone to golf outings, they usually give you some kind of gift bag. So to somebody that wants to get their name out there,
that is a great.
Doesn't really want to do the outing, they could donate logo balls.
They do.
Coffee cup holders.
There's a lot of that stuff. Absolutely.
Like that.
Yes, absolutely. So we had like one of Mike's things that he promotes is for not-for-profits, or even when they do you ever see it? It's very cool. It's called a mega putt. And everybody stands around the hole at one time before you go out, and you count to 3. I have it on video. 1, 2, 3, and then everybody gets the ball, and whoever gets the ball in the first in that hole wins whatever it could be your basket.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Right.
But the golf
people
ball,
like to win things,
The golf ball would have like a restaurant's name on it, and they can bring the golf ball in for a free appetizer. Yeah. I mean, it's just a way for them to drive business to kind of see how effective it is. So there's different things like that.
Yeah.
So what other tips do you have for making an event successful, or a global strategy for having events as part of your marketing strategy?
Well, I think events should be a part of almost everybody's marketing strategy because you get to like literally touch and talk and be in front of people. Email's great, phone calls are great,
right?
And but when you are when you have everybody in a room and you can connect them with other people, you can connect with them. People, they want to meet who they're working with. They want to know that they can call you if they have a question about law questions. I mean, as soon as I met you, I'm like, do I need it?
Yeah.
Are there any law questions, Sam?
I hope not.
I don't.
I rarely walk out of a happy hour that I've thrown without getting some business out of it, or at least deepening an important connection.
Right.
And another thing I've learned is not to overthink it too much. It's more important to be consistent and have, and develop that following, have a regular event that you're doing that people expect, than to think, well, I've got to put so much effort into this event, I'm only going to do it once a year. Now, it's cool to do stuff like the golf outing where it's, a special thing and a big blowout. We did that for the launch party for the podcast. We had a special party. You also have to supplement it, but, when I do an event, I'll buy the beer. I don't usually buy food. I just get people together, and
Right.
as long as
And
there's
talking,
alcohol
right.
involved,
It's-
people,
it all
and enough
works out.
people there,
Right.
you don't really have to overcomplicate it
Right,
too
you
much.
don't. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So Lisa, if somebody is thinking, gee, I'd like to have an event, or I want to talk to Lisa more, what's a good way for them to get a hold of your phone number? Or
Absolutely. Ruffle Feathers. My phone number is 630-257-1000. My extension is 274. My email is lhughes, HUGHES, at Arcus Golf. That's ARCISGOLF. But I've been at the club so long, if you just call Ruffle Feathers and ask for Lisa.
Chamber 630 had a golf outing there this year.
Yes.
We had, that was one of the outings where I was riding around drinking and not playing.
That's right. Yeah.
We had a good time.
Yes. And honestly, chamber events, like in the beginning of the season, it's good to have that stuff because you want these business people. We're hosting next Monday is the River North Business Association, and as we're sitting in our managers meeting, I'm like, they're all important, but we're on stage. I mean, these are potential outings or people that attend outings. So but I back to what you're saying about being consistent real fast. Just because you've met somebody this month or next month, it cultivates down the road. I mean, just meeting like Jim, honestly, we're friends. When I go, he's always sending me anything that he gets for outings. Like, hey, you might want to call these people. You want people to do that, and that's just building a relationship. And I don't even know, where did we meet?
We met at
Hospitality
the Hospitality Expo when you guys had
a little tabletop.
table there.
Yeah, so just things like.
Well, that's what regular events are great for.
Right.
Is because, if you try to, in sales they say you need like 6 contacts with someone before they'll remember you or think of you, and they say, hey, I need a lawyer. So they tell you, if you ever go to a sales seminar, they tell you, well, every 6 weeks schedule a coffee or a lunch with someone and just, keep that follow-up going. You got a regular event, and they're sucked into your vortex, and they're coming to your stuff.
You're
you don't have to think about it
That
anymore.
is so true. You hit everybody at one time as opposed to.
And they come to you, and that changed my sales perspective, because whoever wants to come to my stuff, there's enough people coming that I don't have to worry about individual follow up and doing the old salesy type thing. I just if you build it, they will come, and I get business that way.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'm sorry, I kind of hijacked this podcast. This is a topic I'm passionate about, because it's something I do a lot in my own networking. But thank you for sharing all your wisdom with us.
Thank you for having me out here.
Yes,
I really appreciate
definitely.
it.
Appreciate it. So give them your phone number again.
630-257-1000, extension 274, and it's Lisa Hughes at Ruffle Feathers.
And Jim, how can people reach you?
People can reach me at 630-272-3895.
And what the hell do you do, Jim?
Usually I do as little as I help people improve their performance in their business, and I also do a little improv comedy, and sometimes combine the both into a workshop.
You can help people get better at business golf, right? You can help me with that.
Absolutely.
And then you made fun of me for years.
I helped you at it. I suggest you take up bowling. And how about you, Kevin?
If you want to schedule a free consultation, we do almost every area of law. You can call 630-324-6666. If you want to see more video blogs, listen to more podcasts, we've got episode number 79, I believe. So we got a lot of these, and they're all very good. You can go to seizeyourbusiness.com, and please subscribe to our iTunes channel or our YouTube channel. And if you want to check out my law podcast, it's learn-about-law.com. We've got probably over 100 articles on different areas of law.
And lastly, before we leave, if you would like to be on our show, or if you know somebody who you think would like to, feel free to have them contact either Kevin or myself, and we'll make that happen.
Yeah, our info is all over the website at seizeyourbusiness.com, so check it out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.